Hi there. Being vulnerable is often seen as a sign of weakness, when really it can be a hidden source of strength in leadership, in anything you do. So vulnerability is not about weakness, but it's about courage. So we'll see today how being vulnerable allows you to face future difficulties with greater confidence. I am Coach Saul. Welcome to our Performance Edge Weekly Wisdom, where spirit drives performance. Today we are discussing the healing power of vulnerability. Vulnerability as a willingness to express your feelings, to admit your weaknesses, or engage in emotionally risky situations is indeed sometimes the real potential for growth. Right there, the root word for vulnerability stems from vulnerable, right? The term comes from Latin word vulnerare, which means to wound. So vulnerability fundamentally relates to the capacity or the susceptibility to be wounded, to be hurt. So today here we'll discuss three parts. The first part we'll talk about the transformative benefit of vulnerability. The second part we'll talk about the building block of vulnerability. And in part three we'll talk about how to practice vulnerability, because it's something that's not practiced. So let's discuss first, before we jump in, why being vulnerable is powerful. Because it's about developing the emotional resilience to navigate challenges and setbacks without being broken by them. The more you experience challenges and bounce back, the stronger your resilience becomes. You gain a sense of perspective, which leads you to an increased sense of self-awareness. Yes, because experiencing emotional pain can be a powerful teacher. It can force you to confront your own fears, your own insecurities, your own weaknesses, because self-awareness allows you for personal growth and that ability to navigate future challenges more effectively. What I like to say is problems are for the spirit what dumbbells are for your biceps. Imagine your emotional capacity like a muscle. The more you exercise it, like lifting weight, right, the stronger and more resilient it becomes. So now let's dig into part one, the transformative benefits of vulnerability. If you think about it, being vulnerable leads to openness, to authenticity, and the willingness to embrace and express your true self, including your weaknesses, your imperfections. So there are 5 things that I want to just share with you that vulnerability allows you to do. 1, authentic connection, because we all crave connection as a deeper need. So by being vulnerable, often what it does, it involves seeking deeper and more authentic connection. First with yourself, second with others, and third with our Creator, the Divine. Because vulnerability allows you to drop your defenses and connect on a more genuine level, which fosters spiritual growth and intimacy. In that way, there is humility and acceptance, because being vulnerable requires humility, right? Because recognition and acceptance that your limitation, your flaw, right? And that creates a sense of peace of understanding, which are fundamental for acceptance, which leads you to emotional and spiritual healing by acknowledging and facing your pain, your fears, your insecurities. And so if you can work through this issue, and it will lead you to finding healing and transformation. And next, vulnerability leads you into trust, because embracing vulnerability involves a degree of trust, which means what? It requires trusting in yourself, trusting in others, and a higher power to navigate through uncertainty and challenges. That trust by letting go of control and being open to whatever arises. By doing that, you can experience profound moments of inner revelation. And doing that also, it allows you to be connected in the community, in the support. By sharing your own vulnerability in a spiritual community or with people, it can strengthen bonds and create a sense of belonging and share humanity. Finally, by doing that, you have a personal transformation, because it becomes a catalyst for personal and spiritual transformation, which can lead to greater self-awareness, deeper understanding, and your purpose and your path in life. So now you can see the healing power of it. And since we are now taught about this, now we can dive into the second part, is building block of vulnerability. And so to kind of go in there, you got to have humility mindset, which allows you to be vulnerable, because that humility is the foundation of vulnerability. Acknowledging your limitation, right? And humility involves recognizing that you don't have all the answers or you don't have all the abilities. And that self-awareness allows you to be vulnerable and allow you to be open and learning from others. In fact, humility comes from a Latin word, humus, which means rich. So we get into a humble place when we are really in a rich place of really learning and growing. It can be painful, but it's really a rich place. In fact, in judo, which I've done my whole life, we bow into each other because we acknowledge the other person in front of us, right? In judo, you bow to the other because you respect the other person in front of you. You respect the other person in front of you because you respect yourself first. So it's tricky nowadays, because in some circles, people confuse that with lack of self-confidence, while it's actually the opposite, because you know your superpower, you know your kryptonite at the same time. And let's be clear, everyone has a kryptonite. So that's why by being humble, by knowing your limitation, you know your superpower. And that's really, it's important. So now after you understand that and you're grounded in humility, right, you can clearly see that vulnerability is the expression of that. Opening up is an act of expressing your limitation, your fears, and your successes, even in genuine way, right, which require a sense of humility to expose yourself this way. So if you think about it, together, humility and vulnerability, they foster growth, and that build trust, because when you show humility and vulnerability, you create a space. You create a space where others feel comfortable doing the same. And this fosters trust and deeper connection. Because what that does, open communication, it leads to a more open exchange of ideas. You're more receptive to feedbacks, and others feel comfortable sharing their own same. And what that does, that fosters a culture of learning and growth. By admitting you don't have all the answers, right? That's creating and opening yourself to new perspectives. You create an environment for continuous learning and growth. And so with that said, 3, how do you practice vulnerability? Here are a couple of ways that you can do it if you're a leader or we are all leaders, whether it's on family, wherever we are. Number 1, acknowledge mistakes and take responsibility. And second, what you can do, share your goal and your aspiration. Celebrate successes, both big and small. You can also recognize and appreciate your team's contribution, your friend's contribution, your spouse's contribution. And the big one for me that actually I have been struggling, still working on it, ask for help when you need it, right? Those are all ways you can practice vulnerability, and that allow to build trust and connection, right? When you share your struggles, right, or your uncertainty, or even your passion, it shows that people that you're human. And this fosters a sense of trust and connection, making them feel more comfortable, right, that with you. And by that open communication, right, you create that safe space for open communication, and the team members and people around you feel comfortable. They can admit their mistakes as well, and they can share more ideas, and they can offer constructive criticism. By doing that, you are empowering your team. You are kind of showing them, hey, embrace, right? And you are inspiring them to do the same. And that can empower them to take risks, be creative, and step outside their comfort zone. That's how innovation is done. And that's how you create a culture of learning, because vulnerability allows you to be honest, to give a growth mindset, right? A learning mindset, because telling people that you can learn from your mistake together as a team. So in summary, being vulnerable is about embracing your true self, including all imperfection, and being open to growth, to healing, and deeper connection with yourself and others and the divine, right? It is seen as a strength that can lead you to experiences of more growth. And growth cannot happen if you don't have that. So I want you to think about this now. New opportunities, where do they come from? They come from the unknown, what we don't know, what we haven't explored yet. So that's why we have to be open to act, even when there are no guarantee, by focusing on the process, by what matters, by being authentic. Okay, I want to talk about this more, and if you want to continue this conversation with me, please sign up to our brand new community, Performance Edge Wisdom Community. And the link is below, and you get access to more tips and relevant answers to your real problems. And if you have any issue you want me to talk about, you can submit them also in the comments, or if you want to just ask a specific topic for me to talk about in a video, you can submit it at www.thequantumdo.com/video. And if you want to be confidential, just send an email or NDA, send an email at support@thequantumdo.com. In this way, I hope I can serve you more. So if this serves you today, please feel free to share, subscribe, and I'm curious to hear about what you can be vulnerable next time. Don't forget, till next time, failure is a necessary prerequisite to human excellence. Live your truth. And now, for now, Coach Schultz out.